We're standing in the Goulburn Valley in a paddock that's been flooded. So this year's seen a lot of flooding in a number of different districts through Victoria, New South Wales and Queensland. And when the flood came through in mid-October, it inundated the crop. It was mid to late potting at that point. And as you can see, it's effectively killed the crop where it's been completely underwater for an extended period of time, compared to behind us where, you know, the crop is growing quite well. We've had this flood influenced on this crop. It's decreased the amount of dry matter that's been produced because the crop was terminated early. Not only that, it has influenced the ability of that plant to continue to fix nitrogen because it's a legume, and also just the movement of that water across the soil, you know, what it's done to moving organic material off or depositing other silts and sediment over the paddock. So there's going to be some variation, and even though there's a difference in topography between this lower area and the area that hasn't been inundated, if we can go through and if we can sample some of the plants that are left behind and get an idea of what nutrient status those plants have got now, it gives us a bit of an insight, I suppose, in as how much we've got remaining in the soil, left in the plant material, and then comparing that to, you know, the area that isn't impacted, we can get a bit of a comparison, I suppose, to see whether those two areas need to be treated differently in the coming crop, which will be canola in the rotation next year. So, you know, this area may need more nitrogen, it may need more sulphur, who knows. Usually when we take leaf tissue samples, we're grabbing a specific plant species at a specific growth stage and a specific plant part. But in this instance, what we're trying to do is trying to establish the total nutrient above the ground in kilograms per hectare, or in the micronutrients grams per hectare. For the sake of this exercise, what we'll be doing is taking representative samples in a metre of row and sending the whole sample off above the ground to the lab. We'll sample this good area of crop as we've sampled the area that's been flooded, just to get a bit of a cross-reference, I suppose, to the different nutrient status in the crop above the ground. Having this, the beans been removed, so the grain in the bean going off the paddock, we're going to have higher removal in this part of the paddock compared to the flood affected. So having an idea of what's above the ground compared to where it's been flooded and retained, and also you know, what we may need to do differently between the two areas. So if we sample with a shallow soil test, we grab this leaf tissue test, we get some deep soil tests to have a bit more of an understanding around nitrogen and sulphur as well, then it just pulls together a bigger picture, I suppose, of are we going to treat this area a little bit different to the flooded area.